and welcome aboard to this episode of the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to following the entire story of One Piece from beginning to end as we focus on each volume. We keep the discussion spoiler-free for new fans of the series, so this is the perfect place to follow along, whether you're new to the series or just want to revisit the world of One Piece with us. This week, we will be covering the first part of Volume 57, Paramount War, which covers chapters 552 through 557. My name is Joel, and I'll be your host. Joining me today, we have Sean.
This is Sean.
We have Evan.
This is Evan.
We have Cody.
What's up?
What's up is we're in the middle of a war.
Ah!
The war has officially started.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, so this has been in the works for quite a while, because we were starting to get the build up, even back in Sabaody. We're getting wind that Whitebeard's forces were on the move. Actually, I think to throw a bark is when we found out about Ace being captured. So yeah, now we're finally getting into what this means, and it's gonna get pretty crazy.
Just a bit.
The moment has finally come.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about we just start off with a little recap from where we left off. Luffy and his jailbreak crew managed to hold off Magellan long enough for Jinbei and the others to secure a Navy ship and escape the prison. As they approached the gates of justice, they wondered how they would get through the gates until, suddenly, they began to open. Jinbei explained that Bon Clay made the decision to stay behind and open the gates, so the others could all escape. Jinbei connected Luffy with Bon Clay over the transponder snail. They had a tearful goodbye as they thanked Mr. 2. At Marineford, the Navy forces gathered as World watched. Ace was brought to the execution stand, where Sengoku made the startling announcement that Ace is actually the son of Gold Roger. Due to his heritage, Ace must die to end Roger's bloodline. Whitebeard's fleet arrived at the Navy town. Then Whitebeard himself appeared as the Moby Dick surfaced from under the water. Whitebeard declared he is here to save his son. All right, so before we get into the chapter, we have the limited coverage series number 15, Chopper's I'm Not Food You Jerks, Volume 1, Raccoon Stew Escape. Chopper runs as the island inhabitants try to capture him.
Oh, poor Chopper. We'll get back to him later. So, moving on.
Oh, cool. They're bazookas. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, but poor Chopper. He's running scared for his
He's
life.
having a rough time. He's having a rough time.
Cool.
He's no food. Okay, so we're excited to get into the chapter. Chapter 552, Ace and Whitebeard. As Luffy's group passes through the gates of justice, Ivankov wonders if Dragon is here. Luffy clarifies that Gold Roger is Ace's dad, not Dragon, to everyone's shock. At Marineford, Whitebeard uses his tremor powers to crack the air, causing large sea quakes. Ace thinks back on his past, reflecting on when he first set out on his journey, and later when he fought Jinbei in order to get to Whitebeard. Whitebeard eventually showed and offered to take Ace in, even though he was here to kill him. Over time, Ace realized he wouldn't be able to kill the pirate and rose up the ranks to becoming the leader of the 2nd Division. After Teach killed their crewmate Thatch, Ace took it upon himself to bring Blackbeard to justice, despite Whitebeard's warnings. In the present, Ace tells everyone to leave him as he brought this on himself, but Whitebeard asserts that this was his fault. Sea quakes that Whitebeard set off earlier formed into 2 massive tsunamis that threatened to wipe everyone out. Okay, so Evan, what do you think of Whitebeard's powers here?
This is incredible. I mean, we know Whitebeard is the most revered pirate in all the land, and so finally getting to see why is something I've been highly anticipating, and to jump to the end of the chapter to see the result of his quake, or I don't even know how to explain it, but he literally fractures the air around him, which is such a cool ability. Devil fruit illustration, the way it's drawn is so cool. Yeah, this is very OP.
Yeah, so Nugi is showing that like even though he's not as strong as he used to be, he still packs a punch. Because the only time we've really seen him before was like when he was hooked up to the medicine bags, and he had like the nurses attending to him, so he was kind of like he didn't seem like he was in like the best shape. But now we see here he's still a force to be reckoned with, and he's not like one to mess around with.
And we hear Sengoku say he has the power to destroy the world.
Okay. So
Yeah.
So still got it.
Yeah, put some respect there.
The guy's
Yeah,
a
how about
monster.
Yeah.
I love how even in that first couple pages where we see him cracking the air, when the waves first start roiling up, we see that like it's even distorting the walls of
Yeah.
Marineford. Like the power is literally world bending. Everything succumbs to this. It's insane.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that he's able to use this in the air. So like it's not like earthbenders like in Avatar where they need like the ground or like earth to manipulate. He's able to even use his powers in the air. So it's not like he has to like hit the ground and cause earthquakes. He can literally hit the air and crack it. So it's like I think it works in a different way than you would maybe initially expect it to work. But then we see it in action. It's like, okay, so yeah, this is pretty crazy. And then he causes like these massive waves to form, and it's like they start building up throughout the chapter here. So yeah, this is kind of like the opening salvo, and he's like making a statement.
Living up to the hype.
Mm-hmm. I also just want to go back to the beginning. The moment where Luffy says, "Oh, we just had one of the biggest revelations in this entire story. One of the biggest subversions of expectations." Yeah, I know.
Such a Luffy reaction.
It's perfect.
He's like very nonchalant about it, and like luckily everybody else in the world just found out about it too. It was like, oh, that was supposed to be a secret. I was supposed to say that. My bad.
Oops.
Oh, I never mentioned that before. Okay, sorry.
It's impressive that Luffy's kept that secret that long.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But I think it just goes to show that the way he views Ace is very much a brother. Like he just refers to him as a brother.
Mm-hmm.
So just like the relationship that they've had, it has been literally that they are brothers. So they don't have to be related by blood in order to have this brotherly relationship. That's just like what they've developed, and that's clearly how Luffy and Ace have been viewing it. So I think it's just nice to kind of have that the way it's portrayed by these characters. I think it's just really nice to have that relationship with them.
And I feel like it's very apparent just given that. But I never really thought about it in that way in this moment in this chapter, which I think adds so much to the relationship that's established between Ace and Whitebeard in that flashback.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is just a mindset that Ace has had since he was, assumedly a kid from what we're seeing in these flashbacks.
Yeah.
And so of course he gravitates to someone who says, doesn't matter. Your blood doesn't matter. The fact that I have this bond with you is the thing that's strongest.
Yeah. So it's not the blood that's making the family. It's the people and the connections that they're making. That is their true family.
Mm-hmm.
But now Vankov's probably like second guessing everything. Like, oh, well, I was here because I thought Dragon was going to be here. Miscalculation on my part.
I lost my swanky prison bar. And I don't even see my boss. Excuse me.
I was waiting for the right moment. That wasn't it. Yeah. So while the Seaquake's forming here, we do get Ace's flashback here. So he has a little bit of like history. So we kind of see how he started out, and he started with the Spade Pirates, but then he was trying to kill Whitebeard. That apparently seems to be the cool thing to do, because everybody seems to want to kill Whitebeard for the sake of being like he's kind of like the stepping stone that's in the way of everybody in order to reach the top. So it's like, okay, well, if we can get rid of Whitebeard, then there's nobody that can get in our way. So that seems to be like kind of the mentality that a lot of these people seem to have, including Buggy and Crocodile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do you guys think of like these early interactions here? We see like Ace and Jinbei.
Got into a bit
how
of
they met.
a tussle. It seemed like broadly a draw, and like in the sense that like you're both going to kill each other. Yeah, and they both fall down. So like that tells you how strong Ace is, how strong Jinbei is. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they went at it for what was it, 5 days or something? Or they've been
Yeah.
fighting for 5 days before before
both
Whitebeard showed up.
collapse. Yeah.
But yeah, Ace is holding his own against Fishman. So
The
pretty
Fishman.
impressive. Yeah. So yeah, we even see back then that Jinbei had that strong connection for Whitebeard. He says he's not with the Whitebeard pirates, but I owe him. So he's actually here to help defend Whitebeard, just because he wants to respect him, and he has that. He feels like a debt to Whitebeard, so he wants to be honorable about that. So yeah, he just has that amount of respect for Whitebeard. So I think that's interesting to see, even back to this point.
I also love this panel of Whitebeard just extending his hand out. Become my son.
Call me daddy. Okay, that was weird. That was weird. Sorry, Ace. That
There
was
was an
weird.
edit going around of that panel where they take away the "Become my son." It just says, "Give me your phone." And the number of middle schoolers I've like literally just like taken that panel and been like, "Hey, put it away."
Give me your phone.
Nice.
It actually works a couple times. They're like, "Mister, you're like One Piece, sure."
And, like we do have this like sequence where we see Ace make multiple attempts on Whitebeard's life, but like even when like he's like sleeping, like Whitebeard like still like knocks him out.
And the entire crew
People
just
trying to
so
sleep.
nonchalant about it.
And nobody's like trying to stop him. Nobody seems concerned. Like they took him in on the ship, which is a pretty bold move. Like it's like, hey, this guy was he's here to kill you, but he's such a non-threat to us. We're just gonna have him chill with us. Go ahead, like have at it.
Mm-hmm. And not to get too far into the power scaling stuff, but we do even see that Ace turned down an offer to be a warlord based on a newspaper that Whitebeard was reading before the two of them met. So just goes to show the level of confidence that this crew has.
Yeah, that's another good point.
Yeah, 100 attempts.
But I mean, it does go to show that Ace like kind of made a name for himself even on his own.
Mm-hmm.
I do love in the last one we see in the bottom with the axe at his head. Whitebeard just looks like, oh my god, he's just so sick of this shit. He's just like, this is exhausting.
Yeah, it's really cool getting some of the backstory here and seeing Whitebeard and Ace bonding and seeing the connection that they build. And I also feel like there's kind of a parallel between like Ace going off for this vendetta and to avenge a crew member, kind of like a no man left behind mentality. And Whitebeard kind of tells him, forget about it. Like, I don't have a good feeling about this, but Ace is like really convicted to get to avenge his crewmate. And then we see kind of the same thing mirrored in Whitebeard coming to save Ace, where it's kind of like no man left behind, and like kind of all of the pirates kind of had a different tune than when Ace was going after his crewmate. It seemed like they were kind of adopting Ace's Ace's mentality here.
Well, I think the main distinction is Ace was going out for revenge, and they're here to save Ace. So
Mhm.
they're trying to tell Ace like it's not worth it, and it's not worth the revenge. And then Ace was saying like I don't want anybody to dishonor your name. So like he's kind of doing it also for Whitebeard to not make him look bad. But Whitebeard, he was trying to be like I hate that this happened, but we can't really change that. Like it's not worth it. Like we'll just have to move on. But Ace kind of didn't let it go, and now he's kind of paying the price for going after Teach after he was told not to. But yeah, so like Ace does feel guilty that now everybody's here for his own mistake because he was kind of like too hot-headed and didn't really listen, and he kind of went off on his own. But he like the rest of the Whitebeard pirates are here to say like, hey, we're not abandoning you. Like you're still like part of our family, and it's not your fault. And then like Whitebeard even says like, oh, I told you to go. And everybody's like, that wasn't that right? Isn't that what I said? So he's trying to make Ace feel better about the situation by not making him feel guilty. He's like, this isn't your fault. You didn't cause this. So I think he's just trying to help Ace with that burden.
Yeah, it's so tough for him because we see this conversation where he has with Marco, or Marco saying, "Hey, we're all a bunch of strays here. Whitebeard does consider sons, and that's why we're all together. It's being part of this crew gives us." He says it makes us feel good, but it gives them belonging. It gives them purpose, and so when Teach casts that all aside, I think that's not just a violation of a pirate's code, but it's an affront to this entire family. This family that Ace values so much after seeing that even Whitebeard, who is Roger's greatest rival, doesn't care who his dad was. In contrast to basically this entire world at this point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with all that emphasis on this family, on all of on this bond that Whitebeard has established between them, of course, Ace is going to see Blackbeard casting aside as an affront, not just on Whitebeard's reputation, but on everything he stands for. But at the same time, Ace wouldn't have been so rash without this bond being so established, without this code that Whitebeard's pirate have. So I think Whitebeard does take some ownership of, if we were just a normal crew, then you wouldn't have felt obligated to go after this guy. You wouldn't have put yourself in danger. And then, in one sense, it's for Whitebeard. In one sense, it's for Ace's sense of belonging. But I think Whitebeard does show some genuine remorse in his role and where Ace is at right now. But of course, Ace exemplifies the sense of belonging that Whitebeard gives him. So of course, everyone wants to save him. Of course, they love him. Of course, they want to make sure he gets out of this. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so we see the transition like over time, like Ace going from like I don't get it, like what's the whole deal with this Whitebeard family thing, to like, oh, like I totally get it, like I'm fully in now. So he cares about it so much to the point where he's like he went to all this trouble because he wanted to protect the family from like essentially like it was being threatened because like like you said, like Teach threw it away. So he didn't respect what they had. So like Ace found that to be like an affront to all of that. So yeah. So I do think this is I think there's a lot that gets established from this chapter, so we get to see how this plays out and builds over time. Even though it's like only one chapter, I do think it's done effectively here to give us like that real sense of progression.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oda does such a good job of like showing these bonds that are created. Like even in just this chapter alone, like between Luffy and Ace, Ace and Whitebeard, Whitebeard and his crew. Yeah, I think it's coming together beautifully.
All right. So any other thoughts for this one?
It's about to get insane. That's all I got.
No matter who emerges victorious in this epic battle, an era will end and a new one will begin.
Whoever wins, we lose. Okay, not quite.
Okay, let's move on to chapter 553, Paramount War. Aokiji responds to the tsunamis using Ice Age to freeze the waves in midair, as well as the sea itself, which also gives the pirates a way to leave their ships and fight. The admirals and vice admirals mobilize as well, and chaos ensues. Mihawk decides to test Whitebeard, sending a massive shockwave, but it's stopped by Diamond Jozu. Kizaru attempts to attack Whitebeard, but his attack is stopped by Marco, as it becomes covered in blue flames.
Kizaru trying to speed run this fucking arc.
Let's skip to the end.
Slow down, dude. Okay.
They call him lazy. Just wants to get home and smoke.
Yeah, but we start out with Aokiji.
Also, kind of trying
having...
to speed run this arc.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or at very least, slow it to a crawl.
Yeah, so his response is it's pretty crazy because we see like the moment where we see him like kind of just disappear from his chair. He's like so fast, and he like stops like the waves in midair and freezes them. So like he has the power to like stop these massive waves that were about to like overwhelm everybody. And then he just freezes the ocean as well, which we did see him freeze like the sea back when he first showed up in the Long Ring Longland. But yeah, we can see it also able to stop these big waves too, which is pretty crazy.
So cool. The perfect answer.
Mm-hmm. Then he even tries to send some ice projectiles at Whitebeard, and just the force of one punch from Whitebeard in response makes Aokiji have to dissipate into ice and basically.
Like, I was just kidding, bro. I was just kidding.
We're good. We're good. No, it's all chill, homie.
Chill out, man.
We get so many cool double page spreads of these different groups advancing on each other. We have the division leaders. We have the vice admirals, who I think are the same ones from the Buster Call on Eni's lobby.
Yeah, at least a few of them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love that panel.
A few familiar faces.
They're a bunch of samurais in business casual.
You have the Chadma manga back from Amazon. Really.
Yep.
I saw this guy with I assume he has a spider devil fruit with these arms on his back.
Yeah. Yeah, I would assume it has to be a devil fruit, right?
Potentially.
8 sword style.
8 sword style. Hatoryu.
He's trying to outdo Hachi over here.
Sheesh.
But Cody, to your point, I do feel like the paneling so far, and I think like from this chapter, I feel like this chapter in particular starts like this like unconventional paneling that I think kind of carries throughout, at least like the rest of this volume that we've been covering so far. Just like there's a lot of like slanted angles, and like we see like kind of like 2/3 like panels where they kind of go like halfway to the other page kind of deal. So yeah, I just thought like it kind of stood out how different and dynamic the paneling is for this volume. Yeah, I'm not sure if that stood out to anybody else.
No, I think you make a really good point. It brings up the scope this has, and also the fact that it's literally the world's axis is tilting. Like this is going to be a huge game changer. And so everything's just a bit off kilter. The fact that no one saw a conflict of this scale. Well, I mean, no one can imagine a conflict of this scale until it actually happens.
Yeah, I think there's also just like so much happening that Oda has to try to like fit it all in. So I do feel like it also lends to how chaotic things are starting to feel, because like the war is now breaking out. They're entering, like they're jumping off the ships, and like now they're able to actually fight back. So yeah, it starts just becoming like all out chaos here.
Yeah, it's a lot of action panels. And in
Mhm.
this case, a lot of like large scale action panels as well, because it's like we said, it's a war, so there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of people to be portrayed.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that is one of my favorite things about the way Oda does this paneling is because, like you said, Joel, there is so much going on that it's so dense, but he is taking the space to, like, on every single double page spread, there is at least one huge panel showcasing something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So in one case, he's giving us these big reveals, but then everything else that she still has to squeeze in becomes so small that it is, oh my God, there is so much happening in all these little panels. He's having his cake and eating it too with the way he lays
Yeah.
these out. It's amazing.
Yeah, so he does take the time to devote to these larger panels. I do think to show scale, because we're seeing like how many people are entering the fray here, and then we also see like how big some of these attacks are. So I do feel like Oda is kind of maximizing the space without trying to get too greedy with it. So like he could take a full double page spread for some of these things, but like there's just so much like to cover that I feel like he kind of also doesn't have that luxury to do that as well. So it's kind of like you said, having a cake and eating it too. He's kind of finding like a way to balance that.
Mhm. I mean, with these battle scenes, like, the one with the vice admirals, for example, the cannons firing, they're getting cut, the admirals are advancing. That's all just so fast.
Yeah.
So these small panels, they are gonna like give the sense of this war is just breakneck speed. Everything is coming down. And if I may shit on the Toei anime for a second, like this, I think Impel Down was the start of it. I didn't really watch Marine for as much, but this is where they really, really start to milk every second they can and just try and drag things out. And I think this is like the one arc where you don't want to do that
Yeah.
because this is just a blitz. And I think just and this is when I'm like, okay, like I say people should, if they start with the anime, you should start reading the manga at Skypiea. But I think this is where it's a totally, totally different experience reading the manga compared to the anime. There is something so beautiful about the way this is laid out.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Again, not to talk about the anime too much, but I
Yeah,
agree. Where you do feel it when you're watching like the anime, where it's like this should be more exciting than it is because of how the anime was presenting it. I do remember it like seeming to drag on and take a long time for certain things to happen. But that is just part of like the problem with the format, which is why we're getting a remake so soon before the series even ended. So hopefully we'll get that early next year. And see how that is. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the pages. We do see like this cool like shockwave attack from Mihawk. And then it's not even like Whitebeard who like does anything. Like Whitebeard basically stands there and Jozu steps in the way. So we see Jozu's power in action here, which is really cool. So we see him like be like half diamond.
Pretty
and
cool.
the frost of him.
Which is so crazy because like when Mihawk first came into the picture, it's like, oh, this is the ceiling for how strong someone can be in this world.
Yeah.
And then
Let's
we
just
should
make-
see
nope.
somebody tank him.
Yep.
It's just like,
Mhm.
it really lives up to all these chapters later, all those mythical qualities of like the Grand Line. Oh, it's a terrifying place, and we're like, well, how terrible? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, the guy we just saw who cut ships in half. Well, there's a guy down in the Grand Line who could just tank that hit.
And also to add to that, these are pirates from the New World. So Kobe was talking about how the New World is even more dangerous. So it's like the Grand Line of the Grand Line. So we're seeing some of these pirates here who are showing what that means. Yeah, because they even like state here, he blocked it. He stopped the world's most powerful sword slash. So Mihawk doesn't look too happy about it. But
and it's another to continue power scaling this and to oblivion. He blocked a hit from Mihawk without seemingly any effort at all, and he's not the fucking captain.
Mm-hmm.
How powerful is Whitebeard? Like at that point, like he's the subordinate to Whitebeard. Like okay, What does that mean? I think we know what it means, but we just can't quite comprehend it.
Yeah, and to also keep that train going, we see also Marco, the leader of the first division, who's fighting one of the admirals. So we've already seen to be one of the most powerful forces in this world. So yeah, we see him stepping up to face the admiral.
Yeah, this is very, very, very cool. It's kind of like we've been talking about this moment for so long, and the two biggest forces that we know to be in this world, Whitebeard and his pirates, along with his allies, and then the Navy and the admirals and the warlords. Like there could not be higher stakes or a stronger show of force that we are aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very cool to see how like the first few chess pieces are moved in this confrontation, and kind of how they're playing to favorable matchups, right? Like you said, Whitebeard hasn't moved an inch. Like he has been standing on top of his ship the entire time, and his allies are stepping in to like match the onslaught of the Navy here.
Yeah.
Which is pretty hype. I mean, we're seeing characters we haven't even seen before. We get to see Marco, who, well, actually, we don't get to see too much of Marco yet. We'll get to Marco next chapter, but
we'll get more.
Yeah, but it's just so cool seeing. Yeah, but it's just so cool getting to see these matchups, and like you said, seeing attacks we thought unstoppable being stopped, and characters we thought unbeatable like stopped immediately up after their first attack. Like it's pretty wild, and it's getting very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like very casual. Like when Borsellino does the Yasukai Sacred Jewel, it's like the beams start coming at Whitebeard. It's like, hey, now that's a bit too bright. That's when Marco steps in, and he says, "You can't take our king this early in the game."
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The chess match has officially begun.
It accuses Ryu, oh, the Whitebeard pirates are so scary.
He's such a fucking asshole. Dude. You scared? Shut up.
Why? I'm so scared.
But I do think he's showing a little bit of respect. He's like, okay,
it's the closest you're gonna get at this point for Kizaru to actually be like, okay, like he's being sarcastic, but he's not being 100% sarcastic.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's being like so sincere. Like I think he's like recognizing, like, he's like, I see you, like I respect like your abilities, but like, yeah, I think he's not legitimately like scared. He's like, oh no, I'm gonna die, I gotta run. Like, but like he's like, oh, okay, these guys, they're a legitimate force. So
I feel like he, like a lot of other people we've seen even in this chapter, are kind of like seeing this as an opportunity to test themselves or kind of test their opponents, Like I said, it feels like all the chess pieces are finally on the board and we're like playing the game.
Yeah.
Even like Mihawk is kind of like, what does he say? He says something along the lines of like, what does he say? Hold on, I'll find it.
I want to test the distance between myself and that man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even Mihawk is seeing this as an opportunity to kind of see the gap in strength between him and the acting Pirate King.
Well, to be clear, he's not the Pirate King.
Closest, he's one of
four. That's what I meant by like acting. Like yeah. Pseudo Pirate King.
Right
now he's a top candidate for Pirate King.
He is currently in the lead, but that lead seems to be slipping a bit. But we'll see.
Right. The test is about to happen.
Okay, you guys good to move on?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Choppers, I'm Not Food, You Jerks. Final volume, Man versus Bird. Chopper hides while the inhabitants that were chasing him fight off a giant bird. I know the Big Bird was in this. The Chopper's like, all right, I'll take a moment to rest. You guys can fight that thing off. I'll I'll hide over here. And he's hiding properly.
He's finally figured it out.
He's got it. Okay, moving on to chapter 554, Admiral Akainu. Marco shows his mythical Zoan ability as he takes on the form of a phoenix. Jozu lifts a massive iceberg, throwing it at the giants and the Navy forces. Admiral Akainu uses a great eruption to destroy the iceberg, which also causes chunks of lava to fall over the pirates and their ships. Little Oars Jr., the descendant of the continent polar, arrives to help Ace as the warlords prepare to enter the fray.
Too hype. Too hype. Too hype.
Yeah, so more Devil Fruit reveals.
Mythical Zoans.
Yeah, what?
That's a new one.
How cool. Although we have seen a dinosaur Zoan before. I don't know if that was mythical or not, but
Was it Ancient Zoan?
Ancient Zoan.
No, it's
Gotcha.
mythical.
It is mythical.
Dinosaurs are a liberal hoax.
They were placed there by the devil to trick us.
Exactly. The devil fruit. It's all there.
It's all there. It's all connected.
Yeah, I don't remember what they referred to Drake's fruit.
No, it was ancient.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It was Ancient.
Ancient
Okay.
Zoan.
Yeah.
First mythical Zoan. And it's very cool. I love how this looks on the page. This is a very sweet dragon fruit ability.
Devil Fruit?
Or Zoan, or yeah, devil fruit.
Yeah, even like he was like, I've never seen a bird like that before. So,
They were
like,
sparkling as he
Yeah,
flies
it's
through
like
the air.
doing his best Moltres impression.
It is such a funny exchange between the two of them. Marco says, it still hurts. He was like, liar. Marco gets kicked in. This really hurts. Liar.
Yeah, so they're kind of like toying with each other a little bit. And the Navy has like this whole like giant unit.
Josie just says, yeah, let me haul an iceberg like 10 times each of your size.
Yeah, I know how to deal with giants. But yeah, that's like an insane iceberg.
Yeah, it's wild.
Because like, look at the scale compared to how big the giants are to how big the iceberg is. It's like bigger than all the giants combined.
Yeah.
Also a testament to Aokichi's ability. Like, that's a significant amount of ice.
Yeah.
That's like deep.
So is it Akainu and not Akainu? That's what I always used to say.
I think the general pronunciation would be Akainu.
All right. As a
Yeah.
kid, I always said Akainu.
I think in the anime they've used both in the
Okay.
dub. I think the first time they say Akainu, but I think later they say Akainu. Just because I think it goes with well, because like Aka would be red, and Inu would be dog.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
Akainu. Yeah.
Valid.
Yeah, it's a cool reveal. Akinu's ability for the first time. I know we mentioned this in the past with SBS, but like seeing his face, you can tell he's based on a real person, just like the other admirals, which is hilarious. It's like very apparent. But what a cool ability! I love how his limb kind of like melts into this like lava magma and then literally explodes out as this giant like molten fist. That's such a cool ability. And it kind of wraps up a theme where I feel like all the admirals have kind of like an elemental type ability with the ice, like water, ice, and the magma and light. Kind of like they loosely all feel kind of like similar abilities or like elemental abilities.
Like they're kind of like part of like a set type of thing.
Yeah.
You can see where also their admiral names come from, because the powers are based on those colors. So you got red, blue, and yellow, which is what their names are. after. Because I think we mentioned that before. The naming convention for them.
Right.
Going back to your earlier comment about Akainu being based on a real person. So his likeness is taken from Japanese actor Bunta Sugawara, who made a name for himself playing a lot of Yakuza characters. And he was also in the original Japanese cast of Spirited Away. He played Kamaji, the spider guy at the bathhouse.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I did see that. That's awesome.
And also for Cody, a lot of these panels are familiar from the card game.
Dude, the amount of times to I say, haven't seen that Great Eruption. Okay, wow, crazy.
Great Eruption had to get banned because it was too good.
Yeah, so kind of sacred jewel.
This is anti-Navy discrimination.
Yeah, so then
it does seem like a pretty powerful. Oh god.
Yeah, I was just kind of adding to that how we see his the fallout basically being like the magma chunks falling all over the ships and the pirates.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah. It also makes Whitebeard move.
Barely.
Yeah, he had to put out his weapon. Stick to lighting candles on birthday cakes, Magma Boy.
Oh
yeah. Whitebeard brought all of his one-liners to this one.
And then in the middle of the page, we see the reactions to the people on Sabaody watching on the screens. It's like we're watching the end of the world. Because they're seeing all these devil fruit abilities are larger than life and how crazy the scale all these because we're reading this on the pages and we're talking about how crazy this stuff is. Imagine watching it on live TV. Be that's happening right now in this world.
Yep.
Greetings. The United Nations is fighting every pirate organization across the entire universe right now. We tune in live to Wolf Blitzer. Shit's fucked, y'all.
They're actually feeling the earthquakes. They're actually literally feeling the earthquakes.
Yeah, then at the end of the chapter, little Oars Jr., the descendant of Oars from Throw Bark, makes his appearance, and then the warlords prepare to step in. And Moria is thrilled.
Yeah.
I get another chance at the Oars. This was in better condition, too.
Kuma is noticeably silent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even has the text bubble to tell you he's being silent. I'm specifically not saying anything.
What's with this guy? What is with him?
Okay, you guys get to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Limited cover series number 16. Nami's Weather Report Volume 1. The Business of the Legendary Sky Island Weatheria. Nami witnesses the citizens of Weatheria make business deals with other islands to control the weather.
Wow. By they're being profitable. Nami's listening.
Yeah.
Taking notes.
It's hey, we got to compensate that dance powder. Can't have that stuff around. Remember how how bad that was?
Yep.
But apparently, maybe they have a more fair way of doing things, but I don't know. Because that's my impression. That seems to be they're making deals with nearby nations to control the weather. That's the impression I'm getting.
That's the impression that I get.
Okay, but more on that later. For now, chapter 555, Oars and the Hat. Ace shouts for Oars to retreat as he is too big of a target. Oars insists on helping his friend as he lifts a Navy ship and smashes it down, clearing a path for the other pirates. Whitebeard tells Oars not to get himself killed and orders the others to support him. Hancock joins the fight, taking out both pirates and Navy officers, making it clear she isn't taking sides, though she considers her obligation to fight in the war against Whitebeard fulfilled. Kuma unleashes a massive Eartha shock, knocking Little Oars Jr. to his knees as his hat falls to the ground. Ace had made the hat for Oars to protect him from the sun and the rain. Before Oars is taken out, he aims to take out at least one of the warlords, setting his sights on Doflamingo. This proves to be a mistake as Doflamingo severs one of Oars' legs off. As Oars stretches out his hand to reach for Ace, his body is pierced by Moria's shadows.
Well, shit's fucked, all y'all.
Mhm.
Hey, what do you guys want to start on this one?
Do these captain plus soldiers on this ship aren't even as big as his thumbnail? Massive. He puts the giga in Giga Chad.
Yeah, how did he get here? What ship did he take? Or did he just swim over?
I think he just walked.
He waited through the ocean to get there.
I
Yeah,
love Oars' reaction to the hat. It's a lot cooler.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, we
I
get
learned
this
how
nice
to
little
make them from the
flashback.
Wano people.
Do we know anybody else, Evan, that came from Wano? If that's ringing any bells?
I don't recall.
I'll give you a hint. It was in Thriller Bark.
From Wano?
Wano.
Yeah.
Zombie. Had swords.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember his name.
Japanese.
Yeah.
We watched the short about him.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but his name is
Yeah, I know.
Is Ryuma?
Ryuma. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they call him the samurai from Wano.
Nice.
So yeah, just a little connection back to that, kind of giving a little bit more of a sense of the style, because this is where he learned like the techniques to make the hat. It's from like the Wano style.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I think this is a nice little touching flashback.
Mhm.
How Ace made friends with Little Oars Jr. and just made the hat for him, and like he seemed like so pleased with the hat. He's like, yeah, so protected him from like the sun and the rain. And it's just something like he just kind of like was just dealing with like all the time.
Yeah, I thought this was some touching backstory, and like it really speaks to Ace's character. And with a straw hat being a symbol of friendship, I don't know if that's coincidence or not, but
Nice.
a cool connection.
I'll say it took Ace 3 tries to make it because he kept burning it up. 3 tries with 3 tries with a normal size hat is a lot.
Yeah.
3 tries with a giant hat. Oh my god.
I'm almost done. Just the finishing touches, and oh no.
And I don't even think Oars is Oars even in Ace's division? Like not to say that like he doesn't deserve like a nice favor, but like it just shows like just how well Ace got to know like everyone in this crew.
Yeah.
And how much love he had for everyone under Whitebeard's banner.
Yeah, and then like Little Oars Jr. is just like so determined to like Ace is like kind of like, no, hey, like back off. Yeah. I love that Little Oars Jr. He's like the biggest guy in the world.
Man, Doflamingo and Mori are savage. Savage.
Again, my memory is bad. Have we seen Doflamingo fight anyone besides like Bellamy until this point? Have we seen him like use powers or something? Or
we saw him in
the first severed limb we've seen from him.
Yeah, certainly that.
Hi, Cody. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I think like in Jaya we saw him like doing something to mess with a Marine and make him attack another Marine, but like
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much all we've seen from him.
Yeah, so not exactly clear what he's doing, but he's doing something.
I'm sure it's not a problem.
Yeah, no, he's
Yeah.
But But yeah, it is rough to see. Like after we just had like that touching moment with like Oars, like see like his history with Ace and how he just wants to help his friend, and you see his Lego flying, and then Doflamingo's just like laughing about it very cruelly.
I'm sure it'll go uphill from here. We just got to keep going.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be fine.
You cleared a path. It's gonna be easy.
He
I
gets so
just feel
close
like
to Ace.
we've seen a lot of sacrifice to get to this moment, and it just kind of feels like Oars won't be the last, casualty of this war. It's just crazy to see these characters that we're close to, or characters we're close to, already starting to fall as the war begins.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to see.
It's tough to see.
Mhm.
Yeah, we still see like Oars pushing through, even though he's like, yeah, he's not looking so good. He's like, I'm like so close, just a little further. And we see, I think Mori's powers look really cool in these two panels here. How we see like the bats. But he's mad at Doflamingo for like, he's like, hey, I was gonna take that corpse when I was done with him. Like you ruined it. Yeah, and we see the shadow piercing right through his body. Right when he was like just a few feet away from Ace. We see him start to fall.
Yeah, it's crazy that Mori and Doflamingo are kind of toying with this massive giant who's like proven to be this incredibly powerful weapon that could like turn the tide of the war, and all of a sudden it seemingly in like 2 pages just make quick work of Oars here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you compare it to like how the Straw Hats are taking on Oars and Throw a Bark, it like took like the whole like all the Straw Hats after like the fighting like all night.
Yep.
to take out Oars, and we see kind of like how easily like somebody like Oars got defeated by these warlords.
Yeah, Doflamingo's literally like laughing, like, "Ha, this is so fun."
Yeah.
Like a real psycho.
Mhm.
But he seems to be like enjoying like the chaos in general. Like yeah. So I think this is kind of like he's in his element here. All right, are you guys good to move on?
Ready?
Mhm.
Okay, moving on to Nami's Weather Report, final volume, The Weather Science of Weatheria. Nami's impressed to see the technology to control the weather in action.
Yay, rain.
What's the deal with that orb? That's my question. We see it in the last cover story as well.
Mm.
Is that like the bottom of their little world? Or is that the bottom of Weatheria? The Sky Island? That orb?
I think it's just
Oh.
like a device that they use to make the weather.
Gotcha.
Because it looks like it's just like it looks like it's creating like a rain cloud, like just in that one little section.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have like a bunch of those for different clouds and conditions.
Or I'm not sure if it's like the same one. They just like changed like the settings to make it like do different weather, but yeah, I don't know. Okay, but let's move on to chapter 556. Justice will prevail. Oars falls as Moria and Doflamingo laugh. Whitebeard pirate Atmos confronts them. Vice Admiral Lons attempts to attack Whitebeard, but the giant is easily disposed of. Whitebeard shouts for the others to press the advantage Oars provided with his life as a bridge to get to Ace. Doflamingo uses his powers to control Atmos and attack his allies. Kobe and Tamepo hide as they are in over their heads. While hiding, they witness Akainu confront another Navy soldier who no longer wishes to fight. Akainu shows no mercy, killing the Navy soldier for not having the courage to fight. He then receives a report that preparations for his plan are in place. Additional Whitebeard reinforcements arrive as Whitey Bay's ship crashes through the icebergs. Garp arrives and sits next to Ace. Sengoku tells Garp not to try anything, but the Vice Admiral assures him that he just wants to sit with his family, wondering why Ace couldn't have just joined the Navy like he wanted him to. Out of nowhere, a ship is seen falling out of the sky. Along with it are Luffy and the other prisoners who escaped from Impel Down.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a pirate ship.
I mean, how else would Luffy make an entrance?
Yeah.
Right. This is like the celestial dragon entrance. Through the roof.
Yeah, because we saw like Whitebeard make this cool entrance. I was like, oh, that's epic. And we see Luffy like falling from the sky. Like, how did you get in this situation? Come on, dude.
This is
I'm
perfect.
telling you, you keep going too far. It's because that guy blinked. Don't blame this on me, Croc Boy. I love Crocodile is just while falling is just completely serene. Like he could just disperse into sand once he hits the ground. He doesn't give a shit. Like, well, if he hits the water, that would be a problem. But yeah. What do you think what do you think screws off if Crocodile falls into the ocean? What like kills him first? Is devil fruit preventing him from drowning, or the water turning him into like what? Is he screwed no matter what? Like, like making him drown, or it's just his powers going haywire. So I don't know. It's not good.
I think the sea would just essentially make him weaker. So if he just landed in the water, like in his regular body, then he would just not be able to like really move too well.
Yeah.
But if he was like in sand form, I don't know how that affects his body. That's an interesting question.
Hypothetical.
I don't know.
You may never know.
But even if he's in his real body, he can't swim.
He can't swim.
Yeah.
You have real lungs instead of sand lungs, and they just
Yeah. Jinbei is also looking pretty calm.
Yeah.
Yeah, just another Tuesday for a warlord of the sea.
It's like, what cool dive should I do when I hit the water?
Very Zoro of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then meanwhile, you have different reactions with Ivanka, Buggy, and Luffy screaming their heads off. Mr. 3 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I just saw Mr. 1. He's also like unfazed. He's got his arms crossed.
Excellent.
Going back to the earlier parts of this chapter, we get such a sick Whitebeard panel.
Yeah.
Where he just blows Vice Admiral Lanz's helmet and a good part of his head up with his Quake powers.
So cool. And seeming like this new kind of ability that we haven't quite seen.
Yeah, so he kind of creates like, it looks
There's
like an
some kinda,
aura.
like- Yeah.
It's like he's kind of affecting like the space around his hand to trigger the ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just like smashes this guy's like helmet.
Very powerful.
And he was a giant. And he just like one hand just took out this giant.
And just the brute strength to just pin him to the ground by his neck.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
And then like we were talking about before, we see Doflamingo manipulating Atmos. And he starts attacking his allies. So just like we saw him do back at Marijoa.
And you get a great speech from Doflamingo too.
I have a theory on Doflamingo's ability. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but I feel like seemingly part of his character design is his using like his fingers, and his fingers are always like in weird kind of like contorted shapes. And is that plus his ability to kind of like manipulate people to his own will, it feels very like marionette, like he's got like them controlling like with like some sort of like string, or with using his hands or his fingers to kind of like orchestrate or like marionette control people.
Interesting. Yeah, I can see that.
Thematically, it fits.
Yeah.
So Cody, you're saying that he had an interesting speech.
Yeah, just talking about the different points of view of the world and the circumstances people have. which frames this entire conflict so nicely, and I think speaks to some of the greater themes we've been seeing in One Piece over these past couple arcs, especially with the introduction of the celestial dragons and
Yeah.
emphasis on the greater world at large.
Yeah, so he says, are the pirates the bad guys? Is the Navy the good guys? Things like that change with the seasons. And he says, justice will prevail. Of course it will, because the side of justice will be whichever side wins.
Based.
Not
So we-
based.
Well, not the fact that it happens, but based, based. You know, he's being honest about it at least.
Yeah.
Truthful.
But we do see his kind of outlook on things. So his kind of philosophy is, like the victors are the ones who will tell the history. So they're the ones that get to write the history, and they're the ones who, like, the people with power, are the ones who decide what is right and wrong. So it's kind of like he's not really like necessarily rooting for one side or the other. He's just kind of like enjoying like the uncertainty, but like his whole thing is like the power is what makes somebody right.
Very interesting. This is not even the first time we've kind of heard that theory portrayed, and not even by Doflamingo. I feel like even Doflamingo kind of alluded to this earlier on.
And speaking of power, what do you guys think of this interaction with Akainu and this Navy soldier who is trying to escape from fighting in the war?
Give him the Emperor's Peace. I don't know what to say. Like, no, anybody? 40K? Anybody? Okay.
Definitely
That's
found
right,
myself
that one.
being down for conscientious objection around high school, and I don't think this was active in my mind when I saw that, but it definitely, I'm sure there was some influence on it.
Yeah, so Kobe and Himepo are kind of in the same situation as this Navy soldier, where they're like, we don't want to fight, and they're like kind of hiding, and they witness Akainu confront the soldier, and he's saying like he's begging to like let him go. I have a family, like please let me take care of them. So then he says, if you care about your family, then die an honorable death, and just kills them.
Yeah.
So again, he's an admiral in the Navy, one of the highest positions you can have in the Navy, and this is the way that they handled these situations. But then, do you also remember in the O'Hara flashback how he also handled that situation too?
Mm-hmm.
So I know it was a little while, but in case you guys don't remember, so he was the one who decided to fire on the ship that was escaping with the civilians, just in case any of like the scholars were on the ship. So he's the one that ordered to have it be shot down, just in case somebody got away.
Absolute justice.
Written by the winners.
Like, I already really don't like him, but I am very curious to see his backstory and how he got to be such an extremist.
And again, I know we bring up the card game a lot, but this leader was also banned.
Yep. Yep. And
So that was a good one to see get banned. So
very impressive. Yep.
And we get Whitey Bay with like the icebreaker ship. So it looks like it's designed to crash through. It looks like it's like reinforced with like steel plates.
She metagamed them. We also get a Vice Admiral Suru's power.
Yeah.
Laundry fruit. Sick.
Yeah, I forgot she had a devil fruit. She's like very subtle. Like we just see her like in this one panel where she like turns people into like laundry and is hanging up on the laundry clothesline.
Well washed up.
It's one of those powers that it's kind of like a joke, but then you're like, that seems obscenely strong. Like just like, and you're flat now. Like I just I'm all washed up. I just love the guy.
Got hung out to dry.
Yeah, nice wordplay there. Yeah, and then we have this little moment too where Garp just sits next to Ace. He's not fighting in the war. He's not like actively participating. So he's just sitting here with Ace, and he's kind of like he's sad like that this is happening to Ace because he wanted like the best for him, but like he's kind of in a situation where he's like, I have this commitment to the Navy. Like you went against the will of the Navy and like the law. Like, yeah, I thought I told you better than that. Like, why did you have to pursue this path in your life? And he's like, now like I can't help you here, but like he's still like kind of like grieving that like he has to be in the situation.
Shit's
Tough
fucked.
spot.
It's rough.
Very conflicted.
It just sucks because, like, thinking back to like Ace's affinity for Whitebeard for not caring about his lineage, Garp literally took his greatest enemy's son in.
Yeah.
Now, granted, like, there was a very active difference in opinion and direction in life, which is gonna make any parental relationship a little strained. But still, it's just it's so sad. It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like there's a moment where Sengoku is gonna like order him to like all right, then help out. And Garp just tell him, shut up, just let me sit here.
I ain't doing shit, boy.
Yeah, and then Sengoku tells him outlaws deserve no mercy. And then Garp says, oh wait, no, or is that no, that's Garp saying that. So Garp says outlaws deserve no mercy. But this is family, what am I supposed to do? So he's definitely conflicted.
Mm-hmm.
And then before we get to the Luffy fall out of the sky, we also have this little panel where Himepo is talking to Kobe, and Kobe tells him, "Did you hear about the plan? They're going to execute Ace ahead of schedule."
Yikes.
Good thing the Impel Down homies just got here.
Yeah.
Right on time.
Tides have turned.
Okay, you guys good to move on to the last chapter of the episode? Okay. Moving on to limited cover series number 17, Brooks' Repayment for a Night Stay in Underwear. Volume 1, People Who Do Not Fight. Brooks sees one of the cultists is kidnapped by the Long Arm tribe.
Your special punctuation back.
Yeah, we love it.
Brooks like, I have no idea what's going on. Okay. But let's wrap up this episode with chapter 557, Luffy and Whitebeard. Luffy's ship was knocked up by one of the sea quakes and then frozen by Aokiji, leaving them stuck in the air. While trapped, they heard a transmission come through, revealing that they are moving Ace's execution ahead of schedule. They managed to knock the ship loose, causing it to fall and luckily land into the water below, as opposed to the surrounding ice. Luffy is excited to see Ace and his group is ready to save him. Everyone is shocked to see the Straw Hat Luffy is here. Jinbei formally declares his resignation as one of the 7 warlords. Crocodile wastes no time as he attempts to kill Whitebeard. Luffy intervenes, telling Crocodile that he can't kill Whitebeard because Ace really likes him. Whitebeard recognizes Luffy's hat as Shanks's. Whitebeard warns for Luffy not to get in over his head, but Luffy shouts at him not to underestimate him, as he will be the king of the pirates. The others are surprised at Luffy's boldness for bickering with the legendary pirate.
So, this chapter has what is perhaps my favorite line and interaction in the entirety of One Piece. It sums up the concept and story of One Piece in the span of 2 pieces of dialogue, which is Garp, it's your family again, Luffy! Which the English dub delivery of this by a late voice actor whose name I've forgotten who played Sengoku is so fucking good. God, your family keeps messing things up again.
Is Ed Baylock.
Ed Blaylock, Rip
Yeah.
King.
Yeah, he was such a good
Garp,
Sengoku too.
He's a fantastic Sengoku, and Garp's reaction, Luffy, no! I'm gonna post the clip because I watch it like at least once a week. Like it's so good. It sums up the entire everything you need to know about this story in two pieces of dialogue. Garp, it's your family again. Garp, your family's messing things up again. Garp screams. The end. Here you go. That's all you need to know.
Oh man, priceless.
I mean, it's all coming together now. All the characters are here. Everybody it's here we go. And of course, my boy Crocodile also immediately trying to speed run this arc, but
Yeah, Luffy and Ace finally face to face.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one thing to note too is Luffy has been absent from this entire arc, pretty much. Well, from like the main conflict. So now he's actively here, part of the main conflict.
Yep.
So yeah, this is all kind of building towards this. So yeah, now it feels like Luffy's here. It's like, okay, now like where is this going? Because we've been just like kind of like a showcase of like all these other powers. So it's been kind of nice to be able to take that time to really show us like the other players in the game, people we haven't seen before, other powers we haven't seen before. So yeah, it's been like really nice to have that time to set that up. But now our main character is back into the fold. And we're gonna see how Luffy affects the story.
And Buggy, don't forget Buggy.
And Buggy, of course.
I love this double page we get.
Hey, I suddenly feel like I could do it.
So, Evan, you're talking about the like the double page spread?
Yeah, it's such an epic illustration here.
Yeah, that one's pretty sick.
The band photo.
Yeah, in contrast to what I was saying before is where Oda wasn't taking a lot of time to dedicate 2 full pages to like any panel, but now here he's like, all right, let's take this big panel. It's gonna get 2 pages worth of content,
and it's a good one. Not mad about it.
Yeah, and
it's also cool in this. Oh no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and Borsalino says, I didn't expect to see you again so soon. Because he just saw him on Sabaody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cool getting to see everyone's reaction, all these on both sides of the line, getting to see everyone's kind of reaction of him showing up. Doflamingo, the legendary upstart, Straw Hat.
We even get to see Django and Full Body. Or was that already mentioned? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, for a second. What's he doing here? That's not his usual crew.
And then how Meppo's face coming out, like because he left his goggles, and he has like his eyes bulging.
Kobe's just fanboying. I always knew he was amazing.
Smoker not even paying attention to the pirate he's fighting. Look at me when I'm fighting you, dude. You can't hurt me.
Like somebody more important just showed up.
Considerably so.
Yeah, I do love that panel where Luffy kicks Croc's hook away.
So good.
Once again, Whitebeard just not moving. Feel like nothing can hurt me. Like how awkward it had been if like at like the first attack that came in, he didn't move, he just got hit and died. Like
guess we
that was easy.
Oh damn.
Overestimated him a little bit.
Yeah, I love this moment. Luffy jumping in, defending Whitebeard, and then immediately after that, like threatening him. I love that.
And look how tiny Luffy is compared to Whitebeard.
Yeah.
It's props from Marco, name drops Shanks.
Yeah, I do love like the little like back and forth here. It's like Whitebeard's like, you do know what you're up against, right? You're gonna be killed for sure. It was like, shut up. That's not for you to say. I'm gonna be the king of the pirates. And then Whitebeard like looks at me and says, like, cheeky devil. You better stay out of the way, you little snot. Luffy's like, I do what I want.
Yeah, can't argue with that. What do you think, kid?
Yeah, so that's where we leave the volume for this episode.
Whew.
Insane.
Yeah.
This is just the first 6 chapters of the arc. Yeah, ridiculous.
Luffy was showing up fashionably late. Now the party's really starting.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you guys have
Yeah.
any closing thoughts for the chapter or the volume as a whole?
I love it. I love it so much. It's so good. So good. It's just nonstop banger after banger. Like, this is Marineford, man. Like, this is.
Like the fact that the exposition part of this arc was this insane just speaks
Yeah.
volumes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this volume has been super fun to read. Normally, I read like just the chapters that we have allotted for the podcast, but like I could not put this volume down. I think I read the whole thing in like one sitting. Like I was just like I couldn't stop once I started
Yeah.
reading it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's so fun and it's such a hype moment, such an anticipated moment. I feel like there's been so much build up to this moment and it has lived up to the hype and is every bit as good as I thought it would be. So I've just been really enjoying this arc, this volume, and I'm looking forward to where it goes.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. But yeah, definitely a strong start to this arc. And I do think it's just been fun to kind of again deviate from things that we've like already seen in the series. Like this is like on a different level than what we've been exposed to. Because we're seeing like these big players in the world of One Piece, like as a whole. Like we're seeing like attacks and like abilities that like are unlike anything we've seen in the series so far. Like all of like the forces gathered here, like you can tell like this is like a monumental event happening and unfolding. So it's just really cool to witness this, as a reader. But like I said with Impelled Down, whereas like we've been focusing on characters that are not our usual main cast. So I do think it's interesting to be able to focus on other characters because like I was even saying before, is like Luffy's not really been present for a lot of what's been happening. Luffy is now involved here, but we're gonna see how that affects the story. But like this whole section has been like so crazy with like characters that we're not even that familiar with, but it just feels like very exciting to get to know more of these characters and see them like in action, what they do. And there's more to come.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like the stakes could not be higher. It's like everyone
Yeah.
we know of power is here. Like it's like everyone's been saying like the world is going to change after this transpires. Like it will be the dawn of a new era at the end of this arc, which is exciting.
Okay, but that would be a discussion for a future episode. But for now, that will conclude this week's episode of the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. You can find this episode wherever podcasts are found at We Are Reading One Piece podcast.buzzsprout.com or our YouTube channel at We Are Reading One Piece. This is a spoiler-free channel up to where we record the podcast. So if you're new to the series, you can visit the channel there. You can also find me and this podcast on my YouTube channel at Party King Codex for more One Piece content. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can reach us at wearereadingonepiece@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from listeners, so if you're enjoying the show, if you have any suggestions on how we can make it better, let us know. Next episode, we'll be finishing Volume 57, Paramount War. I've been Joel, and I've been joined by Sean,
This has been Sean.
Evan,
Thanks for listening.
and Cody.
War. This is war.
All right, well, be sure to bring along all your hopes and dreams, and we'll see you on the next episode.
This podcast is messing things up again.